In the grounds of the police firing range at Oulton, near Wakefield, a group of policemen are learning how to handle guns. That means knowing how to search a building for an armed criminal and how to survive. Chief Inspector Gordon Wilkinson is the head of firearms training here. What kind of man makes a good firearms officer?
We're looking for a man who's got a good, reasonable amount of operational experience, and also for a man who will keep his head under pressure. The man who, when it really gets tricky, isn't going to break down.
Now, we've set up a training exercise here. There's an armed and desperate man holed up in the building and a group of officers whose job it is to winkle him out. So just outline the situation we're facing now, will you? We've
got this man allegedly in these premises. Our first problem is to make sure he can't escape. So we've got what we call a containment group, which is really a ring of officers around the premises. And their purpose is to ensure that this man remains in there, even when the search team, who are at the front having to go in and search the premises, are doing their work.
The search team have quite a job to do, don't they?
They have the biggest problem of all. They're going into a building where a man with a gun may well decide to use it against them.
I notice they're wearing body armour, though.
Yes, they are. Without that, they're obviously at even greater risk. The body armour gives them an additional chance if the man gets really nasty.
They carry a mirror. Now, what's the purpose of that?
Well, that's one of the best pieces of equipment we've probably got for going into buildings, because it gives us the opportunity to have a look into a room or into a space without putting our heads round to have a look through our eyes. Because when you put your head round, you've got a target that the criminal could hit if he tried. So
what's the idea, then? What sort of policy are they following as they search that building?
Well, what we're trying to do is to get this man to demonstrate his position. We're trying to make him show himself to us, or to at least tell us where he is.
Well, now, while the search is going on, let's have a look at some of the weapons involved. The pistol here, for a start.
Yes, that's a Smith & Wesson. It's a 6-shot revolver in 38 calibre.
You prefer that to automatics?
Yes, we do. It's consistently reliable when it matters most.
The shotgun is a pretty lethal-looking thing, isn't it?
Yes, they're evil and they're frightening, and we're frightened that criminals do use them so often. And we think an officer ought to be able to at least meet like with like.
It gives him a bit more courage, does it?
It gives him a lot more courage. It also gives him a lot more threat over the criminal who very quickly backs off.
Now, this sniper rifle in the back is also a nasty-looking thing.
Well, that's a precision piece of equipment. It's telescopic sights, as you can see. The advantage to that is that it gives you precision shooting at distance. We would only probably use that where there was a siege situation, where we were perhaps looking to preserve someone's life by shooting one person once. We would only get probably one shot.
It looks nasty. Right, back to the search then. Do they sort of cover each other as they go?
Oh yes, there's a lot of self-protection and also protection one man into another within the group itself. And the whole thing's worked on the principle of making each other safe all the way through the operation.
Cover the doorway, 2 and 3. Can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm saying? I can hear you. Remember, any sudden move, you'll be shot.
Having found the man, is talking to him important?
It's extremely important, because what we're trying to do is create a psychological problem for him so that he readily becomes aware that he has a problem. He's not going to escape.
Hold your hands up high. Hold the gun with the barrel. Let's see you. Come very slowly. Kneel down. Lie down, keeping your hands behind your head. Lie down on the floor.
Do all operations end as successfully as this one?
Well, we so far have had this sort of success most of the time we've been out.
How often has the force actually had to shoot at a man in anger?
Well, in the history of West Yorkshire, we've only ever shot at a person once, and that's since the early 1800s.
You regard that as a success, do you?
Oh, it's an enormous success, and the longer it stays that way, the more we like it.
Well, now I'd like you to meet Clue. Clue is one of the 75 police dogs who work for the force. And the trainers here at Wakefield will tell you that in a tight corner, dogs like him are worth at least half a dozen men. Ian Thompson, where do these dogs come from?
Well, we have them given and we buy them.
What sort of age do they come to you at?
12 months of age, for the ideal training time, which takes 13 weeks from the time that they start.
And is he a finished police dog after then?
No, he's a dog which has got his basic training, and after that it's polish, 2 days a month.
I understand that the dogs and the handlers actually live together, is that right?
They do, in fact, yes. It's a very important part of his socialising that he should be at home with his master. He has him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and when we're at home they like him to be treated like pets. They have to be taken out, play with the family, all the usual things that you would do with an ordinary pet dog.
But at work they're strictly a working dog, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Now, under what circumstances would you actually slip a dog like this against a man?
Only when it's really necessary.
Well, there's a criminal over there by that car. Let's see what he does in action, shall we?
Hey, you! What are you doing at that car? Stop this dog! Stop him!
That was Clue in action. This is Shan. Shan is 3½. He's a Labrador, of course, and he works full-time with the drug squad. Shan's job is to sniff out hidden drugs and to alert his handler. Now, this is Prince, an equally highly trained Labrador, but his job is something very new, because he sniffs out explosives. Over here, we've got a car which has got some explosives hidden on board, so let's see how quickly he can sniff out these explosives.
Good boy, Prince. Good boy, Prince. Good boy. Good boy, Prince. Go find.
Good boy, Prince. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Prince, come, boy. Prince. Prince, come.
Good boy. Good boy. That's nice. Good boy.
If dogs like those are worth half a dozen men, then when it comes to controlling a crowd of soccer hooligans, animals like these are worth an entire division. These are some of West Yorkshire's 23 police horses, and much of the training of both horse and rider goes on here at the academy. The horses are bought at 3 or 4 years old and, like policemen, have to have a certain stature, 16 hands high at the shoulder, which means that at the head they're 7 or 8 feet tall. You'll notice that for protection the horses now wear plastic blinkers, but the sheer size of a police horse is quite a deterrent. Like policemen, they mustn't be allowed to show fear in the face of a hostile crowd. The horses must learn not to pause or to bolt, no matter how chaotic the conditions. And the riders must learn to maintain control of both the horse and the crowd.
Dressing in your file, Cadet Corley, very ragged.
Sam.
Do what you can by looking inwards to improve it.
No.
The first few weeks of any new policeman's training are, to say the least, a bit of an eye-opener. And it can be pretty hard work, too. So what kind of a job are the trainee policemen looking forward to?
Left! Turn! By the right! Left! Out! By your left! Right! Out!
When I'm actually mixing with a sort of the same crowd of people every day, so I become sort of the village policeman.
To get on in the job, it's no point going round looking at everyone as though they are criminals. You have to get on with most people if you can.
Before, the people used to look up to him and listen to what a policeman had to say and respected him. But nowadays, I don't think most people do.
Does that worry you at all?
In some ways, it does.
My father'd been on the beat for 22 years, and he was very happy and contented there, really. So I could see myself, in a similar situation with a secure job.
And you must never...
At the end of 12 weeks' training, the probationer constables have changed beyond recognition. Very soon they'll be out on the streets with the power of the law behind them.
Your personal property. So we're going to get down now to the nitty-gritty of what I think it's all about. And I have to say, first of all, I could be wrong. You know, I'm not saying to you, here I am, 30 years police service and a superintendent and just short of God. I'm saying that I can be just as wrong as anybody else. But I think that policing really is all about attitudes. And I also believe, and I believe this sincerely, that there are no problems in the world today that attitudes can't resolve, because everything at the bottom of it is about people, isn't it? It's not about cement or machinery or technology. It's all about people. It's not a small matter to them where the toilet is or where the bus station is or the railway station or Back Brown Street or any of these things. And you must never ever, by saying anything or by indicating through body language, let them think that you're not interested, because that is a basic part of your function. And you must always, I've told you, be able to split your private opinions and prejudices away from your professionalism. When you're in this uniform, you've got to protect what we have built up for you. I mean, people expected us, we did it, and we're asking you to do it. And when you learn as you go along in this job to be able to split off and be professional when you put the uniform on, or somebody asks you to act as a police officer, whether you're in uniform or not, then you've got the secret of a happy, professional police life. I throw that into you for what it's worth. And if you don't believe me, cross the road on a busy day in uniform, right?
At the academy, they've been given a grasp of what it means to be a copper.
And cross it.
The real business of learning begins when they march out of the academy and onto the beat.
You will be run over. That's perfectly true.
The final programme in the On Location series takes us to the Museum of Lincolnshire Life, and that's a week on Friday at 10:15 here on BBC.